You know that feeling? That little pang of guilt that's so strong it almost feels like the whole world is watching you? Well, today, we're going to dive into a surreal story that takes that feeling and pushes it to the absolute extreme. It's called Blame Game, Humans, and it's this incredible look at guilt and what comes next.
The whole thing kicks off with this one powerful line. Right away, it paints a picture of a world where nobody wants to look at themselves, a world that's just desperate for someone else to blame.
And it's in this world that we meet our guy, a man whose entire reality is about to completely unravel, starting in the one place he really can't avoid looking.
So our main character's name is Solister, and on the surface, he's just a regular dude. You'd never know he's made any mistakes. Not yet, anyway.
But then one morning, something is just wrong. Like, really wrong. He drags himself over to his bathroom mirror, and what he sees just shouldn't be possible. His reflection. It blinks. But he doesn't. Okay, so what is going on here? This isn't just some random, surreal moment. We find out that Solister actually committed a crime, and get this, another man was arrested for it. So what we're seeing is his guilt, the guilt he refuses to admit, literally starting to bubble up into the real world. And it's starting with his own reflection.
His conscience is becoming this thing he can't escape. That very night, the mirror has a message for him, written right there in the fog. He screamed your name. The quiet life he thought he had, yeah, that's over.
And believe me, it doesn't just stop with the mirror. That's only the beginning. The guilt starts to leak out, spreading into the world around him, a world that, it turns out, has a memory of its own.
Which really makes you wonder, right? What happens when all that guilt has nowhere to go? The story seems to be saying that it doesn't just vanish. It has to find a home, somewhere, or in someone.
And this is where things get truly bizarre. The guilt isn't just in his bathroom anymore. Suddenly, his own shadow starts leaning towards the light, and it's grinning. A reflection in a shop window shows him holding a book called The Science of Confession. It's like the entire city's trying to tell him something he refuses to hear. And there's this one moment from the story that is just so chilling. A little kid on the street literally points at him and whispers to their mom, "Mom, his shadow's looking the wrong way." Everything he's hiding on the inside is starting to become visible to everyone else.
So you might think all this weirdness is just random chaos, but it's not. There's a system to it, a kind of twisted logic. And that brings us to the core idea of the whole story, the engine that's running this entire reality.
Okay, get ready, because this is the central idea of the whole thing. It's a concept called the economy of punishment. The theory is that the world isn't cruel, it's just economical. It spends punishment wherever guilt is affordable. Basically, the universe has to balance its books, and it'll always find the cheapest, easiest target to do it.
So here's the crazy part, the real paradox of his situation. Solister gets to walk around innocent only because this system is always finding other people, scapegoats, to pay his debts for him. His so-called innocence is the most unnatural thing about him.
All right, now we get to the part where everything changes. This is where the story stops being about Solister and starts being about you. The mirror turns outward.
This is the moment the fourth wall just completely shatters. The story turns, looks you right in the eye, and asks, point blank, "You thought I was the monster?"
And just like that, you realize what this whole thing has really been about. It's not about some made-up guy in a story. It's a mirror. The story lays it out right there. Solister and you. You're both described as the same thing. Just two excuses, trading guilt to stay alive.
And then it just drives the point home with these little everyday examples that are just, oof, they hit hard. When you missed a deadline and cursed the clock, when your words wounded and you called it honesty, did you feel the weight lift off your chest? It's a total gut punch, right?
So if we are all participants in this, what does that mean? Well, this implication brings us to the story's final and maybe most chilling conclusion. The story of Solister might be over, but the game he's playing definitely isn't.
At the end of the day, you realize this was never really a story about one guy getting what he deserved. So Callister isn't an individual, he's a metaphor. He's us. He's a symbol for this thing we all do, the blame game.
And we're left with this one last lingering thought from the story that just wraps it all up perfectly. The blame game never ends. It only changes players. It's a pretty provocative idea to sit with. What if we're all just in the game, waiting for our turn?